Welcome to Creative Tien channel. As a knitter, we all need to knit a neckline at some point, and it seems like a very complicated project because of all the curves. So today I'm going to do the calculation of the necklines for knitters, either machine knitting or hand knitting. We'll look at an easy way to come up with a chart, and you can follow the chart for either hand knitting or machine knitting. And in the next video, I will do the demonstration of the machine knitting for the neckline with the chart we have today. So the first thing is to measure the neckline you want. And there are two important measurements. The first one is the width, the widest part of the opening. For example, for this one, I have 9 inches here to here. And another important measurement is the depth from the top of the neckline to the bottom. The basic neckline construction includes a lowered cutout in the front and a slightly curved shape in the back. So for the back side, there's a little bit of dip in the back piece, and the front is much deeper. So for example, for this one, it's about 4 inches from the top of the back to the front. And I'm not counting the trim, because we usually will add a trim, probably a ribbon, after we knit the front and back piece. So we are not counting this extra piece here. So the dip in the back is usually about 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, or you can make it even deeper for 1 inch. And the front can be 3.5, 4 inches, depends on the style you like. So you can look at the clothes you wear and try to measure from that first. Here is another t-shirt that fits me. But you can see it's very different dimension. This is smaller opening, and it feels like it's deeper because it's less wide. So you can also measure it and see the differences. Another type of the neckline is the boat neck. So it's a little bit wider and it's flatter. It doesn't dip down or curve down more compared to the round neckline. So you can come up with your own measurement just from measuring the clothes you already have. And here is my approximate calculation for this boat neck. So the width is about 9.5, and the depth, the height, is about 2 inches in the front and 1/2 inch in the back. And for the calculation of this neck, that's the smaller one, I have 7 inches wide, and the front is about 4.5 inches from the top to the bottom here, and in the back is about 1 inch here. And here is my number for this neckline. This one is wider, so it depends on your preference. You can decide the dimension. So this one has 9 inch wide and 4 inch deep in the front. And I also found some very interesting tools. I believe this is a template for sewing. I got this set from Tien. You don't really need that, but if you do a lot of sewing, maybe it'll be useful. They have adult size, toddler, infant, and youth. It seems a little bit small to me. Maybe it's just the Asian size, or maybe because it's for sewing, so it doesn't count the ribbon or other trims we will attach later. And you can always make your own template and just draw it on a cardboard or any thicker plastic. The next thing is to do a swatch. You can either do hand knitting or you can do machine knitting. I use my sportswear yarn LK150 knitting machine and tension 5. And here is my swatch. For every 1 inch, I have about 5 stitches and 6.5 rows. So it doesn't matter which yarn you use, you come up with your swatch and we'll calculate from that. For example, this is the dimension I come up with. I think it's most comfortable for me. It's about 8 inch wide and 3.5 inch deep in the front, and about ½ inch in the back of the neckline for the curve. So converting to the stitch number and row number, it will be about 40 stitches wide for the 8 inch and 23 rows for the 3.5 inches. And for the back ½ inch, I can use 4 rows, or you can use 3 rows, whatever make more sense to your design. Now we know our basic dimension, we can go a little bit more details. So for the neck construction, to keep things simple, we will figure out the flat part first. We can knit the front 1/3 flat. So this part we can bind off first. And then we have the curved line here. And for the top, that's near the shoulder line, we also have the straight line without shaping on both sides. So we have this part that's without shaping and this part without shaping. And normally this is around 1/3 of the total stitches. But of course you can adjust it, depends on the shape of the neck you like. And it also looks better to have straight lines on both sides without shaping. And it makes it much easier if you have a curved shoulder line, so you will do the shaping on the other side. And you don't have to worry about 2 different shapings in 1 row. That will be more difficult. And for the back neckline, the rule is about half of the total stitches to be the flat, straight, without shaping. So the center half will be straight. And based on my calculation, we have total of 40 stitches. So the center 20 stitches will be straight, no shaping. Or we can just bind off and we'll just only do shaping on both sides. So now we know the dimension of the shaping we really need. For this part, it's 10 stitches because we have 20 stitches in the center, so we have 10 stitches left on each side. And for the height, I want it about ½ inches, so it's 4 rows. So we'll just figure out this part that's 10 inches wide and 4 rows tall. Here is the chart. I draw 10 stitches wide and 4 rows tall. And because it's for knitting, the square is not really a square. It's more like a squished rectangle. So I try to draw my diagram like that, a little bit squished. So we know we want to start the shaping here and end it here. And you can decide how many stitches or how many rows. It depends on the shape you like. You can make it wider first and then have a sharper curve, or you can make it a little bit more steps here. To keep things simple, you probably only want to draw about 3 or 4 steps. It will be easier to follow. So that's a little chart we made for the shaping for the back. And the other side, we just reverse it. And for the front shaping, it's the same. I have 10 stitches and 13 rows. And the rest will be just straight. And this part will be straight. So here is a chart I come up with. And again, you can decide the steps. You can make it more curvy or more straight. As long as it's gradual, you will be fine. So this part will be the center of the neckline. That's straight. You can bind off the center stitches or place them on waste yarn. And then we'll bind off another 3 stitches. Knit 1 row and then bind off 2. we need 2 rows, bind off 2, need 2 rows, bind off 2, need 2 rows, bind off 1, and then need 2 rows, bind off 1, and then need 3 rows, bind off 1. And then we'll continue knitting. So that's the calculation for the neckline. It's not as difficult as it looks. And drawing up a chart will be much easier to have some visual reference. So that's how I come up with the neckline shaping. And in the next video, I will show you how I use this chart to knit a neckline on my LK150 knitting machine. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.